everyone, welcome to Chinatown. Today I'm excited to take you on a self-guided walking tour through one of San Francisco's most vibrant and colorful districts. I'm going to take you to some of the hot spots that tourists love to explore, but also take you behind the scenes to some of the hidden gems that you may not find on your own. Now I've set this up so that you can stop and explore each location for as long as you want. And if you go through them quickly and only stop in each place for about a half hour, you could do this entire self-guided walking tour in about half a day. But if you decide that you want to spend a little bit longer time in each location, you could extend this out to an entire day. So before we get started on the walking tour, let me tell you just a little bit more about the history of this wonderful district.
San Francisco's Chinatown is the oldest and largest of its kind in North America, dating back to the 1850s. Chinese immigrants first arrived during the gold rush, and despite facing discrimination and even laws designed to push them out, this community endured and thrived. After the devastating 1906 earthquake and fire, Chinatown was completely rebuilt, this time with the ornate, pagoda-style architecture that you see today, which was designed to attract visitors and celebrate Chinese culture. Over the years, it's been a hub for labor, political activism, food, and festivals like Lunar New Year that draw in thousands of people every year. Walking through these streets, you're not just exploring shops and temples, you're stepping into a living story of resilience, tradition, and community that has shaped San Francisco for more than 170 years. Today, our tour begins at the iconic Dragon Gate on Grant Avenue and Bush Street. This is the southern entrance to Chinatown. It was a gift from the Republic of China back in 1969, and it's much more than a photo op. If you look closely at the stone lions guarding the entrances, you'll see some amazing details. On the west side, the male lion has his paw on a pearl, protecting the structure. And over on the east side, the female lion has her paw on a cub, a symbol of protecting the people inside. The main inscription on the gate? It's a quote from Dr. Sun Yat-sen that says, "All under heaven is for the good of the people," which perfectly captures this community's enduring spirit. Once you've had some time to admire the gate, go ahead and walk through, and let's head on to stop number 2. Which is just a half a block away at 455 Grant Avenue. Now, this stop is not for everyone, but it's one of my favorite places to grab a tasty morning coffee, and it's just a short walk from the Dragon Gate. Home Coffee Roasters is an Asian-owned, woman-owned business that has turned into a favorite local hub. What I really love about this place is that you won't find just a simple black coffee here. I usually order their birthday cake latte with rainbow art. It's fun to watch the baristas, or should we call them artists, craft this colorful and tasty drink. And the finished product? Yum. Here's a look at their menu so that you can get a feel for what to order when you arrive. Get your coffee to go and enjoy it as we walk along to stop number 3. Take a left as you exit Home Coffee Roasters and walk about 4 blocks along Grant Avenue up to Washington Street. Take a left and walk about a block until you reach Ross Alley. Then, take a right. Ross Alley is the oldest alley in San Francisco. This alley has a pretty wild past, and you can read about its history on the red plaque when you enter. Make sure to also check out the amazing murals all around you and the colorful red lanterns above you. Once you're done checking out the murals and the lanterns, go ahead and continue your walk down Ross Alley to find our next stop, which is one you can usually smell before you see it. We're looking for the Golden Gate Fortune Cookie Factory. Now, forget any image you have about a factory. This is a tiny, cramped, and absolutely wonderful workshop that's been making fortune cookies by hand since 1962. You can pop inside and watch 2 or 3 women work with incredible speed. They pull the hot, flat circles of batter off a spinning griddle, flip a fortune inside, and fold it over a metal rod in seconds flat before it cools and hardens. While you are here, make sure to pick up a bag of fresh cookies. They even sell the flat, fortuneless mistakes. These make great presents or a quick snack. It's a living piece of San Francisco history. They open at 9 a.m. and I always try to arrive shortly after they open their doors because by 9:30 or 10 o'clock a.m., you might have to wait in line to enter. And arriving just a little bit early will allow you some time to look around and watch them work. Once you are done here, take a right out the door and continue on to Jackson Street. You'll see a few more murals to admire. Once you reach Jackson Street, take a left and walk up the hill. We are now heading to Stockton Street, which is where the locals shop. Stockton Street is the true heart of this vibrant and colorful district. Arriving early allows you to see how busy and crowded the street can get. It's when the deliveries arrive and the true locals come to do their daily and weekly shopping. At this time in the morning, it's crowded, it can get loud, and it's a little chaotic, but it's 100% real. You'll get a great feel for this district along Stockton Street between Jackson and Washington Streets. You won't see many souvenir shops here, but you will see storefronts that are wide open to the street, very much like Hong Kong. You've got butchers, a fish market with tanks of live seafood, and produce stands piled high with fruits and vegetables that you may not even recognize. You can smell that sharp scent of ginger and scallions mixed with the salty air from the fishmongers. It's a sensory overload in the best way possible. You'll spot bins of dried mushrooms, exotic herbs, and jars of ginseng. And if you're hungry, stop in at one of the local dim sum shops for a grab-and-go snack as you explore. I like the House of Dim Sum, which is at 1242 Stockton, Wing Sing Dim Sum at 1125 Stockton, or you can even pick up a sweet treat from Little Swan Bakery at 1249 Stockton. Don't be shy. Walk into the shops and check out some of their unique products. It's a fun way to really get to know this district. Stockton Street is a great way to see the real daily life here. It's a testament to the neighborhood's incredible self-sufficiency and its dedication to keeping culinary traditions alive. It's a living, breathing pantry. And for the 15,000 residents packed into these 20 square blocks, it is their lifeline.
Now that we are about halfway through the self-guided walking tour, I wanted to do a quick check-in and see how you're all feeling. If you're enjoying this, make sure to hit like and subscribe to my channel for more great travel tips around San Francisco every single week.
Now we are heading to Waverly Place. Walk south and look for Washington Street. When you get here, head east or down the hill. Feel free to stop and check out some of the local shops along the way. Also make a brief stop at Spofford Street to check out this cool mural and then continue down the hill. Now you've arrived at Waverly Place. This narrow street is famous for its colorful painted balconies, but it has a much deeper meaning. Its Chinese name is Ten Hao Mu Gao, which translates to Street of the Ten Hao Temple. Find the doorway to 125 Waverly Place. You'll see a yellow sign above that says Ten Hao Temple. This is our next stop. Ten Hao Temple, one of the oldest Taoist temples in the United States, was founded way back in 1852. It's dedicated to Ma Zu, the goddess of the sea, who was seen as the protector of the early immigrants making that dangerous journey across the Pacific. Just getting to it is a bit of a journey itself. Once you enter, you have to climb 3 flights of steep stairs. Also, they don't allow photographs or videos inside the temple since it is an active working place of worship. So as you look at a few videos from the outside, let me tell you a little bit about what you will see inside. This small historic place features 2 rooms and a balcony, and you are welcome to admire any area that isn't roped off. Take your time to look around at the religious artifacts and the altar. In the back room, make sure to check out the items hanging from the ceiling. My guess is that you'll probably spend about 15 minutes here, but it's definitely worth the stop. They are open from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Friday through Wednesday. Since it's an active place of worship, they do limit visitor access at times. If you don't want to climb the stairs or you arrive when they're closed, it is still a great stop. Just looking at it from the street allows you to connect with its deep history. As you leave, take a right out the door and head back to Washington Street. Once you get there, take a right and head down the hill. Our next stop is just 1 block away. Now that we've explored the back alleys and the spiritual heart of the neighborhood, it's time to visit the Grand Boulevard itself, Grant Avenue. This is the street you see in all the pictures, with its iconic red lanterns strung up between ornate pagoda-style buildings. After seeing the local side of Chinatown, you can appreciate this street in a new light. This is the place to do your shopping, whether you're looking for an antique tea set, beautiful silk garments, or fun souvenirs to take home. But as you walk, keep your eyes open. Woven between the shops, you'll find more of those incredible murals we saw on Ross Alley. On one corner, you might see a massive detailed dragon, and on another, a beautiful piece celebrating the community's resilience. It proves that even on the busiest, most tourist-focused street, the art and history of the neighborhood are proudly on display. Since this is our last stop, go ahead and spend as much time here as you like. You'll find stores all along Grant Avenue from the Dragon Gate where we entered, all the way down to Broadway. You'll also find some great places to eat, grab a coffee, or even a cocktail or two.
So that wraps things up for this self-guided journey through San Francisco's Chinatown. I hope you had a great time. Is there a place that you really enjoyed? Tell me more in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe to my channel for more great San Francisco travel tips every single week.